Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how I book 5 to 10 appointments per day with cold calling, right? That's the primary input I've used for my business in the last few 6 to 7 months, and I've been able to book loads of appointments with it, right? Now, before I get started, I want to let you guys know that I'm including a live cold call recording. I've had some issues with actually recording my screen while getting the audio in as well with Loom. So I'm going to work on fixing that. However, still going to include it somewhat way. I'll probably have to switch through to a different camera and then record with my phone, anything like that, but I will include it, right? Now, the main thing I want to let you guys know is that who am I? Who am I to listen to initially, and why should you listen to me when it comes to this, right? Now, I've closed on this month in April. We've closed on 8K a month. So that's where we're residing on 8K monthly recurring revenue. And also, just to show you guys my analytics in Calendly, if we go the last 29 days, we've booked in approximately 202 appointments. That is all through cold calling. If we go week by week, so let's say we go Monday to Friday, we're not even including Saturdays and Sundays, 44 bookings. We go this week, the next week after, 65. We go the week after, 44. So it's been consistent, anywhere from 8 to even 15 appointments per day. And all the way up until now, we've done 202 appointments. Now, obviously, it is not myself doing these appointments anymore. I'm at that stage where I have setters. I have four of them doing all the cold calling for me, and I'm the one managing. So I'm in a position where I can actually teach this and comfortably be able to learn others as well. Now, if you're doing more than if you're doing more than 8K a month. And if you're already crushing it with cold calls, then this probably doesn't make sense. However, there still might be things that you can learn, right? And also, one thing to remember, guys, I'm cold calling in my niche is real estate. It's real estate agents, arguably the most saturated quote unquote niche. This niche gets called, if not hundreds of times per week, every single individual agent, maybe five, six, 7 calls per week. So it's arguably one of the most difficult niches to be able to book appointments in, right? Now, with that to the side, what I want to talk about today, guys, is some of like a few misconceptions people have with cold calling and how to get over them and actually how to start booking these appointments, right? Now, keep in mind, before I even hired setters, before I was even able to book 15, 20 appointments per day, I was doing 5 to 10 myself. And that was with anywhere from 2 to 3 hours per day, right? Bear with me, in the beginning, I used to spend 10 plus hours booking these appointments. It could be, right? It could be 2 days of 10 plus hours, even 5 hours, and I had to get these appointments booked in. But then once my skill developed and I was a lot better at cold calling, I was able to do that in the fraction of the time that I used to do in the start, right? Now, just for rundown, the most important thing now, obviously, yes, guys, this whole thing, this whole document is made with ChatGPT. It's my own notes, but I had it formulated correctly because I literally don't have the time to do that, right? In all transparency. Now, the first thing is the actual tonality and conversational flow, right? So you guys have probably heard before that tonality is the most important thing. One thing that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is the conversation, right? Being able to listen to people and actually have a conversation with them. Bear with me, tonality is probably the most important thing. If you're not able to have a good tonality when calling, nothing matters. You could say the best thing ever, you could have the best offer, but if you're not saying it correctly, if you're sounding like a robot, if you don't sound genuine, people are going to hang up, right? That's the same thing what it says here, right? So remember, tonality, it builds trust fast. You need to sound like someone worth listening to, right? Someone who actually believes in what they're offering. You can't just be a nobody. Don't be a car salesman trying to sell this type of thing, right? You have the opportunity to actually change people's lives. So when you're calling with people, call with the mindset of having a lot of value to provide, right? So keep in mind with your tonality, make sure that your tonality is good. Make sure that you're able to have a conversation. Being able to have a conversation is a separate skill in itself, right? Because it's not as easy as just being tonality. It's like it's like speaking with someone, right? So let's say you meet a friend, or let's say you guys have probably been in this situation, like so you have your friend, right? You have your friend, and then you're outside with your friend somewhere. Maybe you guys are out eating, and he meets someone else, or she meets someone else that is their friend. And now you guys are three people, and you got to be able to talk with that person as well, right? That's a conversational skill. Now, bear with me. Yes, some of you guys, some people might not be extroverts, might not be able to do that, but you have to be able to do that in business. You have to be able to have a conversation. You can't just call someone, pitch them, and then try to book them in. You need to be able to have that conversational flow, have a little bit of a laugh here and there, throw in some jokes, and then keep building up on that. And then you'll be able to see a positive outkick of actual appointments booked as well. This is something that not a lot of people talk about. I feel like in the industry, a lot of people are pushing the fact that you have to book in 10, 15, 20 appointments per day. Now, yes, bear with me. This video is called 5 to 10 appointments per day. But these are, I'm talking qualified appointments. I'm talking real quality people. I'm not talking people that just initially said, yeah, I'll take a look. Yeah, let's go in and talk, right? It's a difference, right? Now, the second thing is that your offer has to hit. Obviously, the first thing being the tonality and conversational flow, but the second thing is the next most important thing is that your offer actually has to hit. You can't just call and hope. Your offer needs to solve a specific problem, right? Obviously, I'm in real estate. If I were to call, hey, I help real estate agents with their marketing, super bad example, super generic. Don't ever do that because you fall under the same boat as everybody else, right? First things first, you want to have a specific offer. You want to have a tangible guarantee of either closed deals, listings, buyers. Even if you're working with, let's say, home remodelers, you want to let them know that we're going to get you 5 kitchen remodels in this amount of time. If you're working with detailing businesses, we're going to get you 5, 10 jobs in this amount of time, whatever it is, right? So from our example, is we help agents get 2 to 4 seller appointments every single month without chasing leads or relying on referrals, right? You have to make it about them and speak to about them what they actually care about, right? This is also why you need to know your niche, which is the next point, right? You need to know who you're calling. If you don't deeply understand your niche, your calls will fall flat. Ask yourself, right? You want to make sure that you know what these people want. Do they want leads? Do they want appointments? What have they tried before that didn't work? So, for example, in real estate, it's super saturated with leads. People have been selling leads in the real estate industry for the last 20 years or something. Back in the day, bear with me, obviously, there were sheets like CSV files with names, emails, and then they used to just call them up manually. Nowadays, it's a little bit more complex than that, but it's still the same process, the same structure, right? It's still leads, right? So what is the issue in real estate, right? It's the quality. Quality is the main thing. So if you can hit the point on quality, and that's how you're going to initially turn these people around, right? Nobody's calling. I'll give you guys an example, right? So nobody's calling real estate agents and actually talking with them about the quality that they've experienced. What was the issue there? What are they looking for? What type of qualifications do they want, right? Nobody talks about that. Everybody just wants to book them in like everybody else. But then when I realized I used to do that, I had a little bit of a unique selling proposition, and people showed up to my calls saying that, listen, how do you like the person who reached out to me because I didn't go under the same name at that time. I was supposedly having like 5, 6 team members. I went under the name Tyler. That's like my calling name. And they were like, listen, Tyler called me and he had a very different approach. I don't usually show up to these calls, but just because how Tyler spoke to me that day, I just wanted to show up and talk with you, right? I just out of respect. And that's a different way. Like people don't usually say that on on like appointments. Matter of fact, they didn't even show up, right? So it's a completely different mindset shift, right? Now, another thing is what language do they use, right? It doesn't even have to be specifically about their pain points, but it can even be like the type of lingo, the type of conversations they use. How do they talk initially, right? What type of prospects are they? Are they very, because you guys know they have different personality types, right? The people you're calling, it's widely different, right? So let's say you're calling a real estate agent in comparison to a med spa owner. Let's say that is a woman, a med spa owner. She does a nail salon. The way you would call her would be entirely different, right? The way you would call the agent would be entirely different. These people are very direct, right? So let me give you guys an example, right? If I were to call an agent and be like, hey, it's Tyler here. How's it going? Yeah, it might work, but these people, they know, they see through that shit, bro. They're salespeople, right? So these people know that I don't care about how they're feeling. I'm just saying it to break the ice. Literally, just call them, be direct, and see if they're interested. Yes or no, and keep going that way. That's my type of clientele, right? However, if I were calling a med spa, a woman, for example, because they're very emotionally based, obviously females are like that. There's nothing wrong about it. I would call them and would be like, hey, how are you? It's Tyler here. I hope you're doing well. And I would be a little bit nicer, a little bit softer, right? If I went to call a med spawner, bear with me, obviously, a few might be very direct, like agents. But if I were calling the average med spawner, probably be something like I couldn't say something like, hey, it's Tyler here. Are you interested in like 2 to 3 more jobs this month? Like being very direct and not being very polite and nice. You guys get the point, right? Know your industry, know who you're calling, have a good offer, and focus on the tonality. That is the three main things, right? Now, when you know these things, your words hit harder and your pitch feels like a solution, not a sales call, right? It's very, very true. If you're in these calls trying to understand people instead of trying to sell people, obviously there's a time and place for everything. It's going to shift through everything in the call, right? Imagine everybody that is calling is just trying to chase the booking. Everybody that calls these people, they're trying to get them booked into their calendar. They don't ask questions. They just want to know a few things and then they book them in. These people don't care. When you come in there and you actually have a conversation with them, opposed to a actual pitch directly, a sales pitch, it's going to be night and day difference, right? And the next thing is actually what I want to talk about is scripts don't work, frameworks do. That is the second most important thing I would say of today, other than the tonality, right? Now, Keep in mind, guys, real conversations, they're unpredictable. 100%, right? Let's be honest. When's the last time you followed a script word for word in real life, right? You've probably never done it unless you played in like a what do you call it? Like a school type of thing where you used to like kind of play in like the I completely forgot what I was going to say there. But like when you got a script from your teacher and you were like in the theater, right? You used to like play that. That's when you followed a script, right? But other than that, when is it that you actually followed a script word for word when you talk with someone? You don't know what people are going to say. You don't know what people are going to say next time. You need to be able to have that skill to be able to listen to people and actually ask questions about that. Remember, 90% of the call is about them, not about you. That's what you have to remember in cold calling, right? That's one other thing that people don't really talk about, right? That's why when I call, I literally don't use a script. I use a framework that works kind of like a map, and it's not a manual. It's not something I follow word for word, right? That's not important here. That's not what you want to do. You always want to have a initial framework. Now, the three-step framework that I follow on every call is very simple. It's intro, that is like the first thing I do. Then it's the pitch, then I go for the booking. Now, bear in mind, obviously, between these little steps, there's questions I get, there's objections I get, there's things I have to answer, there's things I have to adjust to, but that is the framework, right? It's simple, it's adaptable, and it's effective, right? Now, if you guys just out of the time outside of the video, if you guys want my full framework or like an example script, even though I don't recommend you guys to follow scripts word by word or copy them, drop a comment and I'll send it over to you guys. However, what I want to let you guys know is that if you are able to learn a framework word by word. So just have a general intro, learn that intro by word, right? Just learn it, right? Don't ever need to look at a script to be able to say it. Learn that intro, learn the pitch, learn the two, three most common objections, and just go into calling. Just call, 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 call. That's how you're going to improve. That's how I improve. That's how I teach all my callers to improve as well. I never hand out a script to them. I have all of them learn out their own scripts. And the reason I'm going to let you guys know this is because cold calling, there's not one way of doing it. It's not this one specific right way. Everybody talks in a different way. Everybody has their different tonality. Everybody has their different approach when they're calling. And what works for me might not work for my callers, right? What works for somebody teaching me might not work for me, right? It's entirely different. That's why I don't really like scripts. I don't like sharing scripts. I don't like sharing what I do and what I say in my script. And it's because like obviously humans are very monkey see monkey do, right? We just copy what other people do and we expect it to work. You need to remember the way you call and the way you talk to people is entirely different than the way I do it. So it's like what works for me might not work for you and vice versa. For example, one of my callers, he's able to literally call people and ask them questions before even pitching anything. He keeps asking them questions and then he goes there and pitches them and then he books them in and it works for him. He books 8 to 10 appointments per day just himself. And the way that's crazy is because his personality type and the way he calls, the way he talks is entirely different than me. I'm not able to do that, right? The way that he calls, but he can. And what that goes to show is that you don't want to follow a script. You want to have a framework of what you're going to ask. You want to have a framework for the intro, the pitch, the objections. You want to always have the same rebuttals that you're going to use. However, just know when you're going to use them. Don't push for them necessarily. Don't listen to a prospect when they're talking about something and you just thinking, oh, I got to get to my next question. I got to get to my next question. No, listen to them, answer, have a conversation. There's a time and there's a place for pitches, for questions, for booking in, for everything. Remember, that's what you want to remember. Always keep that in mind, right? Now, the final thing I want to talk to you guys today is kind of a little bit about the topic that we just covered, the ABC rule, right? So always be closing. This is obviously mostly for sales calls. However, you can use it in cold calling because when you're booking people in, it is technically closing someone for an actual appointment. You're not closing them directly for money, but you're closing them for time. It's 10, 15 minutes of their day. It's not a lot, but it's still something that you have to convince people to be able to actually spend with you, right? Now, here's how I keep like every conversation moving towards the close, right? So let's say you're always going to get questions. You're always going to get rebuttals. You're always going to get objections. No call is ever going to be perfect. Yes, bear with me, maybe one or two out of 1,000 calls, but most of them aren't going to be like that. You have to expect the unexpected. You have to expect questions popping up and objections popping up whenever you don't want to expect it, right? You have to know that. But there's an easy way to actually go towards them, right? You want to handle them very, very simple. You want to acknowledge what they said. That's the first thing. You want to understand that they've said something and that you understand them. The second thing is that you want to answer their concern briefly, give a little bit of an explanation, and then you want to loop back to the close, right? That's the most important thing. So I'll give you an example, right? So let's say they say, I already work with someone. Let's say you're calling them and they're like, yeah, I already have a company. I already get some leads. Yeah, I don't need some more jobs. Yeah, nothing like that. You can be like, totally understand. A lot of agents we speak to, they actually have something in place, and we're not really here to replace your team, right? We just go ahead and plug in additional appointments directly into your calendar. I guess, do you have room for a few extra like appointments at all? Like, would you be open to seeing how that works? Now, you see how you switch that around from going from someone feeling that they have to add on something more and pay for something else to a position of asking them if they actually have room for more and seeing if they would be open to adding on something more. Now, bear with me. Yes, they could even say no here, but you still loop back to the close. So if you imagine it like this little circle, their objection, their question, you answered it. You came with a briefly, you addressed their concern briefly, and then you went back to the close. And honestly, they might just say another question. You got to do the same thing. Acknowledge what they said, answer their concern, and loop back to the close. Keep doing that until you close. Worst thing that can happen is you don't close. They hang up or they say no, or you actually book the appointment in. That's the most important thing, right? And I'll give you guys an example for this. This is super important to do as soon as a question pops up. One of the most important things I learned in sales, and I'll leave you guys with this golden nugget before we jump into the actual live cold call recording, is that you want to answer questions head on. Questions, objections, whenever you get them. Don't ever save them. Don't let them bubble up. This is for sales calls. This is for cold calls. This is for any type of sales strategy you would have. Don't let objections bubble up. Objections are purely just concerns, questions, things they are wondering, things they need answers to. If you let them stack up, it's going to create a lot of sales resistance, right? Let's say you're talking with someone on a 10-minute call. They have four different objections, four different questions, and you're acknowledging them. You're not really answering them, but you're moving forward back to initially just trying to book them in. What's going to happen is when you try to book them in, your response is going to be send me an email, not interested, let's move forward, I don't want to do this, right? They're going to hang up, they're not going to talk to you. Why? Because they have concerns inside their mind that you have not yet answered. It's like, imagine, I'll give you guys a good analogy for this. Imagine being in the boxing ring for 12 rounds, right? 12 rounds, you're fighting somebody else. Now, keep in mind, they're on the same level as you, same weight, everything, nothing like that. However, the issue is that for the 11 rounds, you're the one giving the punches. You're the one giving the punches. You're not taking any punches at all. The 12th round, your opponent is just straight up punching you. There's been no punches the 11 rounds. They've been saving up their energy, their stamina. 12th round, they're going crazy. They're throwing all the punches at one time. It's going to be so difficult for you not only to block those shots, but to actually keep the stamina up and be able to respond to them and move forward because there's just so much that has bubbled up throughout those 11 rounds. In the same way, in those first few minutes of the call, if you haven't addressed those people's concerns correctly, it's going to be so hard to convince them and actually have them book in to an appointment, right? So make sure you answer them head on. Same with the boxing ring. If it was 10 rounds, 11 rounds, and you guys were sparring back and forth, punches here and there, it'd be a lot easier to actually win the 12th round. But now imagine them coming full brute force on you. It's going to be a lot harder. So keep that in mind. And always remember, you're not trying to win an argument here. You're trying to book the call. That is the main important thing. So please, guys, keep this in mind. Remember this, the ABC rule. And remember also that scripts don't work, frameworks do. Again, if you guys want the full framework example script, drop a comment, I'll send it over. You need to know who you guys are calling. Your offer has to hit, and your tonality and conversational flow has to be on point, right? That is literally the only thing that is going to be able to twist you guys and make you guys book 5 to 10 appointments per day doing cold calling, right? Now, it depends on your niche. It might be that emails are best for you, but if you're in a local business niche, you have access to phone numbers, if that's even gatekeepers included, or if that's without gatekeepers, direct owners. Cold calling is the best cost efficient way of doing outreach. Best way ever. Obviously, paid ads is something else, but there's a lot. There's not many ways you could literally call someone 2 days. You could call someone 2 days before, and the day after, you can initially close them for a 4 grand, like like a 4 grand fee, like upfront cost, right? A paid in full $4,000. It's so rare that you could do that from any other outbound strategy. Emails, you probably have to follow with them for 2 weeks. So cold calling is just absolutely goated if you know how to do them. That's why I'm recording this video now. If you guys want more of these type of videos, if you guys want more examples, more videos, more walkthroughs like this, feel free to let me know and I'll post them up. What I'll do now, I'll stop the recording here. I'll jump into a different screen, a different way to film this because I want to go through some live recordings where I can actually prove my point and actually get my point across with this. And then we'll end the video there. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back to the video, guys. I wasn't able to figure out a way to fill my screen while actually recording this. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not trying to spend many hours trying to figure that out. I'll figure that out until next video. But for now, it will be throughout my phone here. I'll record it. The audio might be a little bit off,
But as mentioned, I'll figure it out till next time, so you guys have to bear with me for this one. I'll show you guys two calls. First one was a little bit of an easier call. It was a easier close, you could say. And the second call was a little bit more challenging, right? I'm going to start off with the easier call. It's a 3-minute call, and I'll walk you through. I'll stop and introduce and actually walk through what I'm talking about in terms of the first part of the video as well, right? So let's get started with this.
It's Carrie.
Hello, am I speaking to Carrie?
This is Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie, it's Tyler here. I'm just giving you a quick call as I'm working with a couple agents down in Tacoma. I just wanted to see if you're able to handle an extra 2 or 3 listings this month.
Intro, direct, calling from an area close to her in Tacoma, and instantly asking her if she's able to take on a few more listings. Nothing more than that, being very direct. Having the call about her. That's all the intro is. I'm not trying to spend time asking how she's doing because she can see through it. She doesn't really, she knows that I don't really care. I care about her situation, but I don't care how she's doing. Unfortunately, that's, everybody knows that, right? That's what some people just say.
What kind of referral fee are you looking at? Is there a setup fee?
Gotcha. So I wasn't able to go directly into the pitch. She started asking, what's the fee? What's the pricing? And that's super early, 40 seconds in.
Yeah, I kind of have some questions about that. There's no setup fees initially. We don't want to take anything off the back end of your deal either. I can give you a quick nutshell, literally 30 seconds of your time. Essentially, Carrie, we've...
Boom. What I did there, I did the ABC, right? Now, obviously, the closing wasn't directly talking about into the appointment, but I acknowledged her, understand what she's saying, and then told her briefly about it. Like, we don't directly have a setup fee, nor do we do anything on the back end of your deal. I'll give you a quick overview in like a nutshell. 30 seconds of your time, and I go directly into the pitch.
Work with around 72 agents, team leads, and brokers nationwide. All we do, help them close more listings. That's it. We just help them scale, grow their businesses by closing more listings. Now, that's what we specialize in. We do go ahead and find sellers, vet them, and qualify them for you, set up the appointment if they're ready, willing, and able to move forward. Once that's done, Carrie, we go ahead and make sure that all you need to do is meet up with them and do what you do best and initially close them. Anyway, I called you out of the blue here. All I wanted to do is essentially just pencil in maybe a time for maybe 15, 10 minutes tomorrow, kind of go through exactly how we can do that for you, show you the evidence and stuff like that if you're open for that.
Tomorrow is not good for me. No, that won't work. Maybe, do you have anything Friday morning?
Let me see here for you real quick. You're Pacific time as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm usually down in Miami, but for now, since I'm with families, we have a lot of family here. But okay, yeah. Anyways, let's see here. Friday.
A little bit of a conversation there. Obviously, I don't have family there, but still, just talking about it, being able to have a conversation. Remember to be able to do that, guys.
Can you do 9 a.m. Friday morning?
That will work.
Okay, Carrie. And obviously, since I did call you out of the blue here, I'd like to send you some information prior to that call. Do you have an email I can send that over to you that we can look us over before that?
That would be perfect. I was going to actually ask you if you would do that. So
yeah.
Let's do it. It's KA.
Obviously, I'm not going to leak her email here, but she initially asked the email, I booked her in and got that scheduled in. Now, the main thing you guys need to see there is initially the intro. She got an objection earlier on. That's why this call was a little bit easier to handle, because she asked a question quite early on in terms of the referral fee, what the cost is. I was able to acknowledge it and then loop back to the close, explain the process, and then tell her I'd love to sit down on a call with you. Pretty much an easier call, 3-minute call. She showed up, but these are like usually these calls, people don't show up if it's that short, but the thing is that my tonality is so good and I'm able to have a conversation with people that people actually remember it and they want to show up. Now, I do have another meeting in about 5 minutes, so I'm going to go through the second call here real quickly with you guys.
Tyler here. I know I'm kind of calling you out of the blue here. I'm actually down here in Phoenix working with a couple of agents. I just wanted to ask if you had like room for a few more listings this month, sorry.
Hey, Tyler, I'm so sorry I did not buy leads.
We're not selling any leads, no. Just like listings if you had room for them.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Same thing here. I don't buy any leads. Oh, we're not selling any leads in like a spreadsheet or a paper, right? We do listings. Like, I mean, if you have room for that, right? Kind of like a question to ask. Like, it's kind of stupid because these people are like, it's stupid to say no, right? That's kind of what you want to say.
Okay.
It's always, remember this, guys, it's always easier to have people say no than it is to yes. We as humans, we're inclined to say no more than we're inclined to say yes. So if you're able to have people say no, it's a lot easier. It's the same saying, it's the same going by when you're booking someone in and saying, would you be opposed to a 5-minute conversation? Like, obviously they won't say, yes, I would be opposed. They're going to be, no, I won't be opposed. Let's do it, right? So yeah, keep that in mind as well.
So you're not interested in like adding a few more listings to your business, or?
No, I'm not.
Okay. It sounds like you're pretty busy already. Is that the case, or?
Yeah, Tyler, I don't work through affiliated leads or anything like that. They haven't worked out in the past, and I'm not interested. I appreciate that.
Okay. Just because they haven't worked out in the past, though.
Yeah.
Just because something didn't work out in the past, you don't want to give it another shot, like ever again?
Okay, I'm here.
See, that's the thing. You tried something in the past, it didn't work out. I challenged him on it. I was like, okay, so just because something in the past didn't work out, you're just never going to try it out again. And another thing you could say is that, like, Mr. Prospect, let's say it's John. Like, John, do you genuinely believe that there's like nobody in your industry able to provide results with lead generation? Like, let's say you're doing home renovation, right? Home remodeling. Is there nobody in the home renovation, home remodeling niche, sorry guys for shaking the camera so much, that is able to deliver good results with lead gen? Nobody's able to do it. Literally, do you believe that? And they're going to be like, no. And then you're going to be like, okay, so you do believe there's someone able to deliver. Even if they say, no, I don't believe it, then you can ask, okay, what do you think the top producing remodeling companies in your area are doing? Do you think that all their business is referral? Like, you can literally search them up on the Google library, whatever it's called, transparency, and Facebook library, and you can see the ads they're putting out. They're doing something else than just referrals. Nobody's relying on that. That's not their pure base of business. They have a lot of business coming in elsewhere as well. So do you not think it could work out?
I'll be willing to hear your pitch. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like, we've come from all these states. We've worked with around 74 key lead agents, brokers, all the way.
He was able to hear us out, went
all
into
we
the
do is
pitch
just
now.
focus on listings. We don't do a lot of buyers. What we do, very simply put, figure out where you want to list. If that's based on area, zip code, county, whatever you choose. Find sellers there, vet and qualify them with our own in-house sales team. So you don't have to do any of that. We would then set up the appointment with you. You would only have to go in and close them. Now, the thing is that if you are working with us, one, you're not obliged to stay with us for 12 months or anything like that. You're more than happy to leave if you feel like it. That's totally your choice. Now, the second thing is you don't pay us unless you're making money with us. If you're not closing more deals, if you're not making more transactions, essentially, you're not paying us anything. And that's why we're a little bit more confident in actually delivering the results. So I wanted to know if that's something you would ever look into. I know you've had bad experiences, but if you would ever look into something like that at all.
If you would ever look into something like that. I'm not asking him to buy anything. If you would ever look into something like that at all, if you're not opposed to it, we're going for the nose here. That's another good thing, right? And another thing is, guys, with this prospect, the reason I said a little bit more in the pitch than I usually would do is because he upfront told me bad experiences, right? So I was like, I know you had bad experiences. You're not obliged to stay with us for 12 months or anything like that. If you don't get results, we don't get paid. Would you ever look into that at all?
What do y'all charge for it?
Really just comes down to what you're looking for. Obviously, I've mentioned based on area, zip code, what type of qualifications you might be looking for. So I guess if you let me know like what areas, I'll be able to see kind of what ballpark.
So I switched it around. What are you guys' price? Okay, really depends on what you're looking for. This is actually true. So if I can ask you, what areas are you looking to list in? What type of price point are you looking for?
So the areas I work in is North Scottsdale, PD, Central Phoenix, and Arcadia.
Okay, do you have a preferred price point? Money at all?
So we're anywhere between $1 million all the way up to $5 million. We've got a $4 million listing right now. So we're in the luxury market.
Okay, that's amazing. Because I will let you know, like I have a broker. I'll tell you his information as well if you want to talk with him. A broker in Manhattan. David, he has 50 quotations. They don't do anything under 1.5 million. And you know probably Manhattan is super competitive, but it's quite a similar market.
Since we have similar clients on board already with having over 70 agents on board, I'm able to shoot out case studies like that easily. So I was able to do it because it was someone very similar to his situation.
When we get paid, it really just comes down to, we have anything from, we basically all have all the bunch, right? It really just comes down to kind of what price point you work at. Again, with for example, with David, their business is a little bit different, so it might not be around the same price point. Same with kind of the commission you guys get, let's say a $3 million home, very, very different to a $300,000 home, right, Bradley? And so again, the reason I call this audience to see if you would be interested and potentially send you over some information. You can look us over, see that we've actually seen the results we're talking about, see how we look over some results, and also maybe talk with you again later this week where I can actually visually show you some stuff as well for 5, 6, 7 minutes if you're not opposed to that.
What's the name of your company again?
If you're not opposed to that, that was the ending statement there. I went into saying, I'll show you some results. I'll walk you through the system. I know you've had some bad experiences, but just give me a shot to like show you it, right? I'll show you it. No decision needed, anything like that. Would you be opposed to that?
I'll be the same. I'll send you some information over an email if you'd like to.
That's fine. You can do that.
Okay, perfect. What is the best email, Bradley? Send it over to.
So it's going to be my first name, Bradley.
Fine, 5, 6 minutes then for a better conversation.
Honestly, goodness, I'm not sure. My day is a big moving target.
Especially if you're in real estate, probably is. Here's the thing, 'cause I'm going to send you that information. You can look it over. If you don't like it at all, Bradley, you can let me know. I won't call you, but I want to call you because I feel like you're going to like it. And I feel like you want to talk for maybe 5, 6 minutes. Again, I just want to have a schedule on my end. If you're okay with that, I'll be able to give you a call. If you can't make it, you can always let me know. Maybe for Thursday or Friday.
That's fine.
Okay, let's see. Is it better for you tomorrow or Friday?
Let's go ahead tomorrow.
All right.
Boom. Schedule it in again. Didn't have to include the email. But that's the thing, guys. It's super easy to get this going. It's not hard at all. It's not anything too overcomplicated or anything like that. It's quite simple, actually, other than it is hard. So definitely just work on that. Again, looping back to the close. Looping back to the close, always acknowledge what they say, answer them, and loop back to the close, right? I have another call I have to jump in right now because he's waiting in the waiting room right now. And I'll catch you guys again on Sundays. I'll update a new video about something specific else. If it's show-ups that you guys want, if it's sales, anything in general, note it down in the comments and I'll be able to post something specific for that. And again, I'll fix this until the next video so that the audio, I can do it from the computer as well. But I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.